Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We are switching things up today. With Season 2, we have had introduced to us the Highwaymen, the newest faction to XDefiant. So, I have decided to make a tier list for all 7 factions, ranking them from GOAT status to absolute trash. This is all personal opinion, by the way, based on what I have experienced with them personally. Obviously, other people have experienced factions differently. But with having almost 300 hours on XDefiant, I feel like I can give my 2 cents a little bit and it have some merit to it. Starting off our tier list is the Highwaymen. The Highwaymen's abilities include the Scrap Turret, a deployable machine gun turret with a 360-degree field of fire, and the M79 grenade launcher. Along with the Ultra, the Saw Launcher, launch buzzsaw blades that ricochet off surfaces and rip through foes.
You're on a hot streak.
And their passive trait, Revved. Rate of fire and reload speed increase as you rack up kills. The Highwaymen were going to be a problem before they even dropped for Season 2, in all honesty. Their kit is really good, and there's one distinct difference between the Highwaymen and then everybody else is their passive. The Revved passive makes this automatically a good faction. You pair that up with the 360-degree turret on top of the really fun and kind of useful Saw Launcher. Honestly, they're goated. They are absolutely goated because no matter what you use, no matter what weapon you use, Revved will always make your weapon better. With increasing the fire rate and reload speed of every single weapon in the game, this improves LMGs, ARs, shotguns, SMGs, snipers even. Now, from personal experience, the M79 grenade launcher, I just simply did not enjoy. I tried my absolute best to use it. I can get blown up by it a lot from enemies using it, but I cannot get hit markers with it to save my life. But the 360-degree turret, that is an amazing part to this kit. You essentially have defense wherever you want it to be, whether that be on the hill, holding a rotation point, next to you on a hard point, on a domination flag. No matter where, it's going to actively seek out enemies when they come into view, and it has a lot of HP, which probably is gonna get nerfed over time if you want me to be honest. It needs to be adjusted right now because of how good it is. The Saw Launcher is also just a lot of fun to use. It's pretty good on small maps like Arena and Rockefeller and Showtime as well. Any medium to large size maps, it's kinda useless unless you're playing objective. If you're playing TDM, you're not gonna get much use out of the Saw Launcher. But in any objective mode, it is always good, especially, like I said, on those small maps. I'm gonna have to put the Highwaymen in the goated tier list. I simply have to. Moving on to our next faction, introduced in Season 1, the GS Commandos. Their abilities include Shockwire, drop briars with electrified barbed wire to zap and entangle foes, and the ADS, deploy an active defense system to intercept incoming explosive abilities and devices, with their Ultra being the flash shield, blind and bash foes with the LED studded shield, which also provides mobile cover for your sidearm, with the passive trait being Hard Hat. Ballistic helmet reduces the lethality of enemy headshots. The GS Commandos are very underwhelming. Their kit sounds very good on paper. They have the electric barbed wire that will slow you down and do damage to enemies. Their ADS is the only trophy system in the game, and their blitz shield on paper looks really good for pushing objectives and also pushing with a team, obviously, but it is just simply underwhelming. The only good part, in my opinion, about the kit for GSK is the ADS trophy system. The barbed wire is almost not noticeable when I'm playing against players using it. It is very easy to break. You can simply melee it very fast, and 9 times out of 10 I'm not getting stuck by it. I always have time to melee it and get it out of my way. If you're using it on objectives like a hard point, a flag site, they're gonna probably just be exploded almost instantly in the midst of all the chaos and gunfighting and stuff, because people essentially spawn and spam grenades at the hill or at objectives every life they have. The counterpoint to that is the ADS, the trophy system, which is supposed to catch all grenades, all abilities launched toward it, which, don't get me wrong, it's very good, but it can still very easily be blown up by EMP grenades or by grenades at a distance, depending on how far away the ADS is, because at times it does get a little tricky and it will not always register whatever EMP grenade is thrown at it. EMPs work through walls as well, so if the ADS system cannot register it on the other side of the wall, the EMP is going to blow it up automatically every single time it's near an ADS system. I've blown up tons of ADS systems being used by enemies by accident, not even knowing they were there, throwing an EMP at them every single time. And I've done it a lot. And their blitz shield, it's good, but if there's one or two enemies and they're not right in front of you where you can flash both of them, you're probably going to die. Only having a pistol and having to show chest up to the enemy, especially like I said, if there's two enemies, you are essentially almost always dead. You can be countered pretty easily. And the passive, the hard hat passive, it's very, very underwhelming. I mean, in all honesty, I actively shoot at GSK users' heads just to hear the different hit marker sound because it sounds a little cooler. Like, I know I'm doing less damage to them, but I'm almost always getting the kill. I'd say 9 out of 10 times, no matter what, in a one-on-one, even if I'm still shooting their head as they have the passive. If their passive was something different, this faction would probably be at least decent, but I am gonna have to rank it at trash. I am very disappointed in it. Our next faction being the Cleaners. Their abilities include the Incinerator Drone. Napalm delivering drone burns everything in its flight path before exploding, and the Firebomb. Detonate a Molotov cocktail causing explosive damage and igniting the area. Their Ultra being the Purifier. A flamethrower ensures enemies are thoroughly sterilized, and their passive trait, Incendiary Rounds. Bullets inflict extra burn damage, but range damage fall off is increased. When XDefiant first came out, I was not a big fan of the Cleaners. It is slowly growing on me though, how good you can slay out with the Cleaners. The Cleaners, in my opinion, are specifically for slaying out. Everything screams just go and wipe out the entire team by yourself. The Molotov is very good for close quarters, so any small map you already have a really good ability. The Fire Drone is very good. You can throw that into objective and you are going to do at least a little bit of damage, either from the explosion or the fire that's going to be sitting on the ground after it explodes and the line it goes in. The ultimate is, I'm gonna have to say it, it's underwhelming. The range on it is not the best. The range can definitely be better. 9 times out of 10, whenever I hear a cleaner pop their flamethrower, I just simply back up a little from wherever I think they're gonna come from. They're also very loud whenever they pull their flamethrower out. They essentially scream a battle cry, and you just automatically know, hey, that guy's got a flamethrower, so maybe we shouldn't be like directly on the objective, where we can back up and shoot him from a distance and get rid of his ult. Me being mostly concerned about just getting kills and keeping people off of the hard point, off of the objective, I probably have been sleeping on the cleaners for a while because, like I said, everything about them is just simply kill the other team so they can't kill your team. Simple as that. Their passive is kind of good as well. It will get you a couple kills here and there and get you a lot of assists as well, just for simply doing a little bit of fire damage. They could go in either the good tier list or the not bad. If your playstyle is more kill heavy, I would say they're probably good for you. I'm probably gonna put them in the good tier list. I really enjoy them. I think they're pretty good. Moving on to the Phantoms. Their abilities include the Mag Barrier. Electromagnetic barrier blocks incoming fire and grenades, along with the Blitz Shield. Equipped a tactical shield, press a melee button for a shield bash. Their Ultra, the Aegis. Spherical plasma shield combined with a point-blank electro scatter gun for close quarters combat. And their passive trait, Hardened. The Phantoms used to be the most broken faction in XDefiant, and if you remember from anything from the betas, from the launch of XDefiant, you will know and understand how broken this character used to be. The Mag Barrier had way too much health and a way too fast regen time for you getting it back. Since then, obviously, they realized then, wow, this is really broken. We kind of need to nerf them, and even they got nerfed more recently. In the most recent update, their movement speed was reduced by 5%. Their health regeneration has been increased from 4 seconds to 5 seconds, and their passive trait, Hardened, has been reduced from 120 hit points to 115. Now, this is still the only faction that has more than 100 HP. That 5 HP difference you probably won't notice too often, but it's going to level the playing field for players with SMGs that are at closer range to you. So you will die more often, and you're not going to be able to take gunfights as well, knowing it takes 5 seconds to start fully regenning your HP. You really have to think a lot more when using the Phantoms now. I'd have to say their Aegis system is really good still. Their Ultra is, I'd say, best for taking over objectives. The Mag Barrier is still very useful, but XDefiant, it's only good for about one gunfight now, especially since everyone kind of realizes how easy it is to counter. The riot shield they have, that is just absolutely horrible. Don't understand why it exists. It is very bad, and it's not good, honestly, right at all. So with the adjustments to them, with the movement speed nerf, the slower regen health, the harden trait getting reduced a little bit, I'm gonna have to put them in the not bad tier list because they're still good. They're the only characters that have shields to them, obviously, that you can shoot through. It's a one-way. You can still counter them very easily. You can hijack them, you can EMP them, you can shoot them, you can blow them up very easily now. The riot shield is essentially useless as is, but their ultra is still good. Like I said, they are the only faction that has more than 100 HP by default, so that automatically at least makes them not bad to good, but I'm gonna have to put them in the not bad. Moving on to the DeadSec. The DeadSec abilities include Hijack, hacked enemy deployed abilities and make them your own, and the Spiderbot. Deploy a Spiderbot that will target and stun the nearest foe via face hug. The Ultra being Lockout, prevents enemies from using their ability, and Ultra an area of effect, with their passive trait being Fabricator. After a device is deployed, the Fabricator prints a new one. For a while, I was not a fan of the DeadSec. It was obviously fun and trolly to use them with the Spiderbot. Here recently though, the Spiderbot has been very inconsistent. It doesn't know where to go at times. It always solos one person out and doesn't go for the closest person like it's supposed to. But the other ability, the Hijack, possibly one of the most slept on things I think I've been sleeping on this entire time playing the game. The Hijack ability is amazing, and I'm honestly upset with myself for not using it as much as I should have been using it. In the gameplay I have, eventually the enemy team gave up using their abilities that were throwables because I was taking them so often, they just decided to stop using them. That's what it did to the enemy team. They literally gave up using their abilities because I kept taking them so much, along with being able to print your grenades as well. I run EMP on each and every single class just because it's the most useful thing in my opinion. But being able to throw anywhere between like 2 to 5 going on a kill streak just makes it such a useful passive. And then their ultimate, the EMP, can change the course of a game. If it's a close game on Occupy, Domination, CTF, whatever the game may be, shutting them out from using abilities and their ultimates and canceling ultimates like the Echelon one-shot pistol is amazing. The Spiderbot is okay. It's fun and trolly to use, obviously, but the Hijack ability and the ultimate on top of its passive are 3 very good traits in the kit, and they're good. They are pretty good. Moving on to the Libertad. Their abilities include the Biovitae boost. A fortifying wave boosts health regen for you and nearby allies. El Remedio. They're a vitalizing gas canister that heals friendlies until destroyed or canceled. Their ultra being Medico Supremo. Deploy the Medico backpack for a large health and healing boost in a limited area. Their passive trait being Espíritu de Libertad, the contagious spirit of freedom that constantly heals you and nearby allies. Their kit is all about helping you and your teammates go to the objective, slay out, healing them when they're almost at death. All around, it's all about support, but you can use that to your advantage and simply slay out with it. You can take on 1v1s really easy, heal instantly, get right back in the fight. You can push a hill sometimes by yourself. If it's 1 or 2 people on it. You can take a flag by yourself sometimes on Domination. A good healing ult can change the course of the game and probably save it 9 times out of 10 depending on how close it is. Everything about the ult is simply good. When I see a Libertad pop their ultimate, I'm not gonna lie, I usually walk away if I'm by myself. If it's just me and there's no other teammates around and they're on an objective like a hard point or a domination flag, honestly, I'm gonna walk away and let them have it. Their canister is very good for throwing down on an objective or close to an objective and have constant heal for X amount of time. Their bio boost heals very quickly, so anyone around you that needs health gets it immediately as well. On top of the passive, while having constant healing and healing around for teammates close to you in proximity, the Libertad are easily goated. They are by far in the GOAT tier no matter what. Their last faction, Echelon. Their abilities include Digital Ghillie Suit, renders the agent nearly invisible. Movement and aim reduce the effect. Intel Suit. Periodic sonar waves share positions of enemies around you and their ultra sonar goggles. Reveal enemies and hunt them down with the Sam Fisher's 5.7 pistol. With their passive trait being low profile, your character does not appear on opponent's minimap regardless of actions performed. A good Echelon player will probably make you hate the game, I'm gonna be honest. We all know how absolutely busted and broken their ultimate is. The one-shot pistol, you may as well back out of the game at times, depending on how much of a kill spree they're on and how close the game is. The second they pop goggles, that can change the tide of the game. Their invisibility suit is pretty good. For a while, it was very easy to see. I feel like they've done some good changes to it, and they've made it harder to see, but not impossible to see. The intel suit is good, but it has received some nerfs over the time, and good to use, I'd say, mostly in search and destroy. Echelon is a good solo player style faction. If you are solo and you're playing by yourself, I would more than likely use the invisibility suit. It simply helps you get kills. You can catch people off guard very easily. You can be sneaky with it. Their passive is also very good. You always stay off the radar no matter what. They can only hear you shoot your gun. If you use the silencer with it, that keeps you off the radar no matter what, and you're quieter. Along with the invisibility suit, honestly, sometimes I get beamed and I have no idea they were even possibly there. The invisibility suit is kind of catching me off guard over time. And then obviously the busted one-shot pistol. And I think everybody that plays the game probably fears, because usually whenever I hear the goggles popped, and if they're a decent Echelon player, I'm probably dead. Being able to see literally the entire map while you are in your goggles, you know what lanes to take, what fights to not take, what to take, so on and so forth. So if there's like one Phantom by himself behind his mag barrier or GSK in his ultimate, you can see that, you know it's up on the field, you know to stay away from that. You literally cannot catch them off guard unless you are behind them, or if you get lucky enough to flash them, or simply counter them with an EMP from DedSec. But that fear factor alone puts them in the goated tier. The very broken pistol, the very good invisibility, the useful intel suit, all together makes them good for solo and objective play. All in all, a goated faction. Let me know down in the comments below if you want more videos like this. I've honestly had a lot of fun doing this. Also, let me know what other videos I should try out. Should I make class setup videos? Let me know what you guys want to see. I have fun making content that will enjoy. Leave a like and comment down below if you enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.